Welcome to Abike Media Productions and the Preeminent Good Books brand. Suicide. Let's talk about it, y'all. Suicide. Please leave your comments. Please tell me how you feel about this video. Sincerely, just leave some comments. Don't just come to watch to see what I'm saying or to try to look at what I'm saying. Leave some comments. I need some honest people on this channel. I don't need people that's coming to check it out, trying to figure out what you're saying, looking at what you're doing. I need some honest people on this channel because there are some honest people going through some very, very honest things that people are being dishonest about. So again, suicide. The question is it murder or is it suicide? Is it really terminating your life? Are you really terminating your own life? Or is it murder in its purest form? And what do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about it, y'all. Remember when I said I like to talk about issues that people shy away from and they don't like to be honest about? They like to make it look like, oh, it's mental illness, or oh, it's this, or oh, it's that. Well, let's talk about it. You're looking at me, right? I'm alive, right? But I am human. And I know what it's like for someone to project their voice and say evil things to you, but you don't take heed to those things. Well, that's why I'm still sitting here. But what about the person that happened to, whether it was badgerly through insults after hurt, after attack, or it was subtle and manipulative, informing the person with information to harm themselves, to make them think that if you do this, everything's going to be okay. There's nothing here. It's not worth it. This is how you're going to suffer all your life. Again, why are we still here? Why are you looking at this channel? Oh, don't tell me you ain't never been through some stuff, boo. Because those who pretend like they haven't are those who lie to the world. We all know. I don't care if you're an officer. I don't care if you're a judge. I don't care if you're a pastor. I don't care who you are. People will never, ever be honest with you about the stuff that they internally go through that you cannot see. Well, that's what this channel is for. Because I don't care what people think about me. I don't care how they judge you, because I am sick and tired of the psychological lies, the psychological bullcrap, the sensational information that we are fed that's just simply not true. And we know it's not true. But we've been made to feel ashamed if you speak up. If you say something like that, you're going to sound like you crazy. No, you better not say that. Just suffer silently and pray to the Lord. Well, those people did that. Their parents would ask them time after time, honey, what's going on? Those spirits would convince them, those people would convince them, don't tell them, you can't trust them. And then if the child did try to open up and they did try to speak up, they were labeled names. They were laughed at. They were told, oh, it's just your overactive imagination. They was discounted and they was discredited. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. I get so tired of people pretending like they just don't know. If someone can bully you physically at a school, and you got 5 and 10 kids that can bully you with their voices, call you names and attack you and this and that, and you go home and you commit suicide, or they said you commit suicide, what do you think people can do on a spiritual level? Don't worry about all of that, because you know when you speak in this truth, anything want to make you look like anything. What do you think people are going through on a spiritual and psychological level? Think about that. Think about when someone's at a school and you got this one child and they bullying them. They calling them names. You're ugly, you're nasty, you stink, you stupid, you dumb. There are people that go through that on a mental and a spiritual level. Been suffering it for years. They tried to get help. They tried to talk to people. Unfortunately, they're trying to shift it now. Always watch manipulation. Always watch when things become a trend. Because when they become a trend, that's the hustle so fast. I have a term that I have coined on this site. It's called the hustle sold fast. What does that mean? That means that they selling you something fast. They selling you a lie. They selling you a deceit. You see, when things become a trend, they find out the way to program it. They find out the way to discuss it and make it sound common and make it sound normal. But they still be wanting to put your ass on them pills though, right? Peep game, y'all. Peep game. Be honest in this lifetime. Nobody wants to discuss real issues until it become a trend. But then watch the trends though. Because the trend still got the lies in it. It still have the deception in it. The reason why I give these examples because I want you to understand. Just like a person can be physically bullied like that, they can also be spiritually and mentally bullied like that. So there are parents that say, I've been trying to understand. I tried my best, and they all guilty. They feel guilty for something that happened that they did not do. I was watching one video about suicide and a woman's son who committed suicide and how she says she felt guilty for just trying to have a smile on her face, for just trying to move forward from something that happened some years ago, from just because she got her other two girls to raise besides what happened. Do you see what people really try to do in disguise? Not only do they try to take something away from you to harm you, then they try to kill your spirit too. I get tired of everything being blamed on the devil, everything being blamed about the Illuminati or the government. You got to wake up. Do some of those institutions do things that are corrupt? Yes. Who doesn't? Even the Catholic Church was known for funding little children. But were they the only ones? Of course not. We got to look at this for what it really is. We got some good human beings. We have some awful human beings. We have some human beings that take their energy and bully people, take their spirit and try to destroy people. I was sitting up in the courthouse one day, and I was at court because I had to go see about a ticket. So there was a young guy that was there. And his father or grandfather, or whoever the man was there. I just know he was an older man. So the young boy was taking his energy and his spirit, and he was just trying to destroy his grandpa, destroy his grandpa. Everybody was sitting there looking at it at the courthouse. Everyone. All the people at the front desk, all the people walking through. Nobody ever said a word, y'all. No one. And this man was just sitting here suffering. I stopped. I said, hey, little boy. I said, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you've been through. But you can't talk to him like that. You can't try to take your spirit and destroy him like that. You got to stop that. Do not do that. That's not right. Everybody at the courthouse just looked at me. Just look. Just looked. You see, this is the problem. We've got so wrapped up in profit. We got so wrapped up in lies that we can't be honest anymore, y'all. We got to learn how to be honest. You can't worry about what people think about you. I know that we got this body. I also know that we're spirit and we're energy. I don't just have to see you harming someone physically like that. So say, for instance, if the boy and his grandpa is right here, you see it. It also happens when you can't see it. What do I mean by that? Like, people can take their voices and their energies and project it to people and harm people. When I was looking in the media and I was looking at the news, and these stories would come up about these so-called 9 and 10-year-olds went and put a rope around their neck. Listen, put a rope around their neck, went inside of a closet, stood on top of a chair and hung themselves? I just want you to think about that for a minute, because I want you to think about the process of thinking. That's how you know it's an influence from someone else instead of that child doing that. That goes back to that question. Is it suicide, self-termination, or is it really murder in disguise? Think about that. You was once 9 years old yourself. Did you ever, in your mind, you've been bullied, you've been talked about? Let's be honest. You know, I like to get to the real nitty gritty. Some of us girls was on our period, and a little bit blood came out of our pads, and we was embarrassed. But we never thought to put a rope around our neck when people laughed at us and made fun of us if they caught that, especially boys. You know, boys will run you in the ground in school, baby. Junior high, high school. Oh, Bloody Mary. You know, they'll say all kind of stuff about you. But not once did you ever think, I'm going to take a rope. I'm going to put it around my neck. I'm going to go bring a chair out the kitchen or wherever you bring a chair from, because chairs are usually not in your room. And I'm going to stick it inside. Think of the thought process. I'm going to stick it inside of a closet. Wait a minute, how did they even tie the rope or whatever it was that they tied around them, belt rope or whatever? How did they even get up there to tie it on top of the thing? And I'm going to tie it on top of the thing. And I'm going to put my neck inside of it. And I'm going to hang myself. I just take my little feet and dangle off. Come on, y'all. You know, and I know that those stories do not add up for 9 and 10-year-olds. But can an energy influence you, or someone's spirit influence you in your thoughts and in your thinking to behave in a manner that you normally not would if you're consciously aware, or if you understand something? You better bet your bottom dollars it can. How many times y'all done slept with somebody and you got up and you woke up, you said, what in the world was I thinking? How did this even happen? You run from the person, you don't talk to the person call you, you hang up, you ain't got time, you be running for real. Because you was hoodwinkled by that energy. You was at that time, at that moment, whatever that influence was. There are a lot of things that happen to us that humans, we're not really honest about. We're honest about the stuff that sounds good and trendy, but we're not honest about the stuff that don't sound so good and not so trendy. My question again, is it suicide or is it murder? I ask you to think about your own life. I ask you to be honest with your own life. I ask you to please understand as a human being what you personally go through that you may never share with no one else, because you know how this society is and you know how this society acts. Always understand that there is someone going through something worse than you. Always understand that they deserve better. They don't deserve someone lying on them with medical conditions. They don't deserve someone playing mental game with them with God and devils and demons and goblins and goblins. They deserve to be loved. They deserve for the truth to be told. They deserve not to be bombarded with a whole bunch of psychological or hoop-hopper mental game mess. They deserve the truth. They don't deserve the red pill or the blue pill, because after all, the Matrix was stolen. Okay? And sequels made out of it. Everybody and their mama know it by now. And the red pill and the blue pill, neither the purple one or the orange or white one or any other one that they have can heal a lie. It's just that simple. We see all the research out there now. We see all the truth out there now. But you people who say that you love God, you people who say that you're fighting for a better cause, are you willing to be honest? Are you willing to help people to understand what they really going through? Because you going through it too. You just know how to handle it better. You just know how to fake it better. You just know how to give the appearance that you're not going through it. Preachers going through it. I've been to every church. Child, I've been to popular churches. I've been to the middle churches. Even when I was a little kid, we went to mega churches. I've been to small churches, corner, popping the mom shop churches. I've seen governments. I've seen all of this. I've worked in social services. And trust me, we worked in cubicles in social services. And people was going through it in their bodies and their minds, trying to help other people on the phone. So when you look at your humanity, when you look at what they said to you with their spirit, when you look at how they attacked you, remember that that's what those people are going through too. Some people make it, some people don't. I don't have the answers to why some people don't. I do have some answers. I do understand why some people don't. Just like when you're influenced on certain things, and once you wake up, you're not influenced by that no more. You don't let people come with a little thought or a little projection. You'd be like, hell no, take your ass over there and do that. I ain't going to jail behind no crap like that. Why? Because you learned how to think. You learned how to recognize what that was. You weren't up there playing no gooblins and goblin games. You know, the black church has a coin term, and it goes a little something like this: the devil is a liar. But they know that ain't no devil. They know who be doing all that mess. So all I'm asking today, look at your humanity. Look at what you go through. Look at how people project stuff to you. You may be smarter and wiser to fend it off. Maybe they wasn't. And you don't know what they be internally going through. But ask yourself, is it really suicide? Or is it murder? Because people can kill you with their spirit now. Don't ever get it twisted. People can do that. So just learn to be honest with people. Even if you can't help them, even if you can't heal them, even if you can't make it better, don't lie on them. Don't tell them, oh, you just crazy. Don't make fun. Don't mock. Don't brush them off. You don't have to take on a heavy burden that you can't handle. But don't sit up there and just do stuff you know not right either. When you know the truth. You know those medications. Let me tell you something. When that stuff is happening to you, you go put yourself on those medications? You go do yourself like that? Hell no, you don't. You sit up in this world and you act like you ain't going through none of that stuff. And you don't tell people what you're going through. And you're not honest with people about what you're going through. So therefore, those who are honest, just let them foes look crazy. They need a pill. They're crazy. They need medication. That's wrong to do people like that. Especially when you know you go through it too. I've been in churches looking at preachers going through it in the pulpit. I know what I'm talking about. But no one is ever going to be so honest with you. They're not going to stand there and say, hey, if you could see these people connected onto me, if you could see this stuff, if you could see what they do. No, they're not going to be that honest with you. They're going to keep that to themselves. They're going to disclose that. They're not going to disclose that is what I'm trying to say. They're just going to say, it's the devil, the devil attacking my mind, the devil attacking my body, because that's the code word everybody use. Because nobody wants to sound like they mental. Nobody wants to sound like they're crazy. But in this day and time, I don't care about that. If people can go eat babies and drink blood, I damn sure don't care about what somebody think about me for telling the truth. So again, y'all, if you can just look at your humanity and look at some of the things you go through, then you'll say, I know what that person is going through. Let me not label them. I can't help them, but let me not do them like that. That's all I wanted to say as far as the conversation of suicide. And I want parents to understand, listen to these little kids. Listen to them. When you see little kids say stuff like, mommy, they poking me in my side. They poking me in my side. And you sitting up saying, shh, don't say that. You're going to sound like you're crazy. Don't say that. Don't do your child like that. Just don't do them like that. They're going through something. Someone's messing with them with their energy and spirit, just like you as an adult go through that. Children are not exempt. That's why people be so shocked when they see things going on. They be trying to figure out because they not exempt. Wake up, y'all. If people don't care about killing children and drinking their blood, and if they don't care about murdering children and raping them, you think they're going to care about practicing witchcraft on them? Come on, y'all, wake up. They don't care about doing that to you or anybody else. So children are not exempt. And you have to learn how to listen to them. You can't be going around putting them on pills, degenerating their minds. They're not exempt. Doctors go through it. They just not going to tell you that. No professional is going to stand before you and say, I go through spiritual attacks. They have to look like the professional. No lawyer is going to go stand up and say, I go through certain attack. They have to look like the professional. Only the preachers say it. But if you notice what the preachers say, they blame everything on the devil. Until it happens to them for real or their families. Then they'll start blaming it on witches. They'll start blaming it on what it really is. People doing it. You know, you'll listen to them, the truth to come up out of them. I've been sitting there. I've been watching for many years. And the only thing I'm asking you as humanity, if you come across this video, if you're going through that, know that you're not alone. Pretty much over half people going through that mess. They're just not going to be honest with you. Sometimes you're looking at people, they faking like they this, they faking like they that, and you will go in life and you will look about 3 years later and something will be done happen. You be like, but I thought, you be shocked. You be like, but I thought, and child, because it was all a facade. You understand what I'm saying? It was all a facade. So I just ask you with your humanity, please understand you are going through something and you also go through those attacks. But remember, there are some people that go through it worse than you. Don't forget that. Be thankful if you're not going through it that bad. But don't forget there are other people that go through it worse. So when someone's trying to make people look like they crazy, they mentally off, they this and they that, and they trying to tell you what's happening, instead of you joining the bandwagon and manipulating like that, why don't you have a heart and compassion and say, I do understand. I can't fix it, because a lot of times you can't. But you can say an encouraging word. You can say a truthful word. And you don't have to join the bandwagon of mental ill rhetorics that lie on people to make profit, or that ride the trends to stay in the spotlight. Because after all, what people going through is not necessarily always in the spotlight. Y'all have a good one. Hi, if you watched my video on suicide, me talking about suicide, I want to leave you with a little bit of this story. One day I was in Burbank, California, and I was really talking about this issue out loud, basically what I was saying on that video. And a young man walks up to me. I really don't know how old he was. I know he was very young. And he walks up to me. He was a cutter. I don't know if you've seen those people, they cut their arms. He was a cutter. And he says, ma'am, I am so thankful that you are speaking about this issue and that you're talking about this. He said, because I have been trying to tell people for years what I was going through and what was happening to me and what he felt like the attack was and what was happening to him. He said, but people would count him off. He had been to doctors. He had been to, of course, church. He'd been to a lot of stuff, you know. And of course, you know, when people know what it is, but they can't fix it, you know, for many years, the church pretended to cast out demons, right? But we all know that those spirits don't go nowhere, and people go home still dealing with the same issues. There's a lot of manipulative things going on. Or if they go to a doctor and they get a pill, they still going through all this stuff. Or it may even get worse with the pills. So, but he told me, he said, thank you, you know. So that's another reason why I wanted to make that video, because I want you to truly understand that it's not that people don't know what they're going through. They explain to you what's happening to them. And it's not that you, the person, don't understand what it is. And what I found is there are a couple of different types of people. You have one person that knows what is happening, and they will be honest. They can't really do nothing about it. They can't fix it, but they will be somewhat honest about it. Then you have that type of person that knows what's happening, but because they want to conform so much to society, and they don't want to seem like the odd person or the crazy person, or they don't want to be, labeled or whatever, they'll go with the trends of what society says, or the trends of what the mainstream says. And then you have what's called the mainstream. They're not as blinded and ignorant as you think they are. They consciously know what is happening. They know the truth behind that, and the truth about humanity and the spirits of humanity. But people like to make profit. And I'm not gonna make no profit if I come tell you, because there's no book to write. There's no pill to sell you. There's no scripture to quote you every 5 minutes, And I can't make a profit off just being honest with you all the time. Now, you may give me some money and say, here, I like to bless you and I like to thank you, but I'm not gonna really make a profit off of being truthful with you all the time, because you know the answer. And I can't fix it, and you can't fix it right away, but at least you understand and know the answer. And people don't make profit off of that. They make profit off of selling you a solution. But if you notice, the solutions don't work. So again, I think people need to start getting back to honesty. And some of this stuff is not even about solutions. On a mass scale, people are being demoralized through pills, through all kinds of lasciviousness things in the media, and just all kinds of stuff. Even with religion, if you're not careful, too much religion, too many lies, too much deception, that can distort you. That can literally mess you up. You have to be careful with that. That can literally send you into la la land somewhere. So again, I just want you to understand that hopefully we'll get to a place where we just start getting back to truth, and stop talking about we love one another, and we're not even being honest with one another, So I just wanted to leave you with that little story. The story about when I was saying in there about the little boy poking me in my side. That's true. That's actually a true story. I was in a tunnel one day. We was at the train station, and underground you have where you step on the steps to go down so you can catch the train underground. And there was a young boy, little bitty boy, and he was just walking, him and his little family just walking. Matter of fact, a whole bunch of families walk through there because they going shopping at the shopping centers up there. And he goes, mommy, they keep poking me in my side. He said, they keep poking me. And, of course, she said, shh. And, and I tried to explain to her to please listen to her child. Sometimes we wonder why. And I wish I would have known this stuff. When I had my first child when I was 15. So I was very ignorant. I didn't know a lot of things. I was just a very ignorant person. I had my first baby when I was actually 15. I wasn't even 16. So a lot of things I didn't know, and a lot of things I didn't even know about myself. I didn't even know about my human self, let alone know about other people and their human self. Because first you have to understand your humanity, that you have a body, you have a voice, you have senses, you have a lot of things, and your spirit, your energy, and you can do things, So, but a lot of those things, you're not thinking about in your youth days. Like your mind not even thinking like that. So, just a lot of things I didn't know. So again, when my understanding is open and I'm looking at people in our world, and I'm looking at them talking about 9 and 10-year-olds committing suicide, and I'm looking at myself once being a 9 and 10-year-old, and everybody I once knew once being a 9 and 10-year-old, and all the people that exist in this universe today who were once 9 and 10-year-olds, we know within our honest self that a 9 and 10-year-old just don't come up with those thoughts on their own. So you have to know that those are influences from other places. You have to know that. Like, you just can't put your head in the sand and just pretend like everything's the devil, this and this and that. Again, you as an adult, people will send projections to you. You're just smart enough not to follow those projections all the time. You know, you've learned some of your lessons along the way. So again, just never miss the point that children are not exempt. You know, they're not exempt. You know, people mess with children too. Children go through things too, especially when people are jealous of their destiny. You know, if a child has a bright future and a bright destiny, they'll be jealous of them and they'll target them and they'll try to get them to self-destruct and they'll try to destroy them. Those things do happen. So again, thank you for coming to this channel. Thank you for listening. I hope that you really understand what I'm saying, and I hope you got something out of it. Again, this channel is about becoming better, brighter, and bolder. So look down in the link below. I have a book that I wrote called The Mind of a Young Villain. There's a lot of things going on in our culture today about what they call soul selling and to become successful. So The Mind of a Young Villain is basically based off of that concept. So if you would like to read it, it's free to you. All you have to do is just click on the link in the bio, at the description below. And also join on Facebook. I have a Facebook, so just join on Facebook, stay connected. So when I dish out these videos, which is every week, you guys can kind of, you know, come and be a part of this channel and we can have a conversation. It's time for us to have a conversation. Let us be ready. Have a good one. Thank you.